maybe if you sell us your liver, we might make it 12.
12 hours. Yeah.
6-day
journey.
Not everybody likes selling their liver to get on a train.
I've done it twice.
What? No. Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of the WhenX podcast with me, your host, and whoever this guy is. Who are you?
Hi.
It's the same guy as last time. I couldn't find anyone else to bring on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're stuck with me again.
Oh,
It's
no.
almost like you're living in my room.
Shut up, man. I don't like you. Dead ass.
Damn.
The viewers don't like you either.
No, I did get some of that from the first episode.
Really?
They're like, I can't even tell if you're a real person or not. That's what they said. I was like, what do you mean? Of course I'm real. They're like, nah, he's a
He's a fake.
copy.
Watch this. My hand will go right for him.
Yeah. Just badly edit your band. It's
just like a picture of my hand in front of
Anyway, so welcome. So this is the second episode. Weirdly enough, actually coming out after the first one's published.
That is insane. Yeah, no, normally we'd plan to record a few episodes on the trot so that I could start editing them, because it's actually exam period. It's our exam period now at university. So we'd hope to have a few more out by now.
Yeah, we did.
But we're trash at this. Editing that last one took me like 2 years, and I didn't even realize it was way too quiet.
So it's just a case of like, once you've done one, you're kind of like, wow, I need to sleep for 5 years.
I need to rest. I need to eat chicken.
Eat chicken.
Has to be chicken.
But before we get into our first topic, I want to ask, what drink did you bring today?
Well, last time I had water, but today, in the same mug, so you wouldn't be able to tell, I have lemonade.
I can't remember what I had last time, but I have milk iced tea this time.
I think you had milk iced tea last time. The viewers will be able to say, or I could just watch back the other one.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it was. But I like it, so I'm going to drink it.
He's always drinking it, 24/7. His room actually smells of the milk.
Does it?
No.
It should smell like lavender. Have a little squirty thing. Goes, psh.
But yeah, no. He's got a little. Yeah. So welcome. Thanks so much for the support on our last episode. That was it started off quite slow. I think YouTube has this kind of thing where after you've uploaded, you need like 4 or 5 hours before anyone will actually see it. But it was really nice to see some of the people message me on Discord and stuff and say like, "Yo, actually, I enjoyed watching your episode."
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that. It
It's
means
very
a
nice.
lot. We're not spending too much time counting up views, because we're the kind of people that if we counted up views, we'd kind of probably be disappointed no matter what the number. So we're just like,
I don't know, if it was 1 million, I think I'd be pretty happy.
yeah, well, goddamn. I'll tell you what, if you're watching this back from the future and you know, you're thinking, how many views did it have when they made the second episode? Well, right now, I think it has like 63.
Yeah, something like that.
Not
That's
bad.
63 people who wanted to watch it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy
not bad.
to me.
Not bad. It has like 8 likes as well. And looking back, and it's like, it still has 63.
Episode 551, they now have 30 views, so they were better back then.
Whoa.
But
They've gone through a spiral of decline.
oh my god, from the first episode to the second. But in all seriousness, today's topics, what are they going to be? Our host, Travis.
Oh, well, our starting subjects, I was thinking we could talk a little bit about transport in Japan, like infrastructure of Japan, how it's different from where we live. So like, when I was in Japan, was quite a while ago, bear in mind, and I came back to the UK, I remember I had to get a train from the airport in England to my university, which they're quite close to each other. And I remember I was waiting for the train, and it was like 15 minutes late, and I was like, how is that possible?
15 minutes.
How do we live with that like gap? It was like, sorry, the 211 to place is delayed. And then everyone on the station, I'd be like, is this legal?
Yeah.
It's like, do I get compensation for the train being late?
No way. No, if anything, you have to pay them for it being late. I mean, I used to commute to my college back in the day by train every day. And it's like an hour-long train. Not too bad. But sometimes it would arrive like legitimately 40 minutes late.
That's
sometimes it was quicker to drive.
That's
to
just
like
crazy.
go like, oh, okay, which one of us can drive? Who has their car nearby? Just pick up a load of students and just go.
If you think about it, in Japan, so for anyone who doesn't know, I'd be shocked. Japan has quite an extensive train network, a rail network. I don't know if we commented on it a little bit. I think because this isn't our first time recording episode 2, we may have talked about it then, so I can get confused about. But Japan has a metro which also does overground, which is separated by several different like service providers. Like you'd almost have like a phone provider, but anyone can use them. One of which is like by far the biggest, JR, because it was originally there was originally loads of companies and they came together to create JR, which is I presume it just stands for Japan Rail. Yeah. Right. But there is other ones as well. There's like the Metro, and there's also like some smaller niche ones, and they all operate at least in Tokyo, and also in most other places. It's run by those companies as well, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think like they're pretty much.
Yeah, I think JR especially operates in the whole of Japan, no matter where you go. But they basically have this kind of thing where it's like, if your train is a minute late, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you just don't expect it to be late at all.
No, the time you have to be there at the time, and it will be there at the time. Like
you got a queue to get on at the exact right time.
Yeah, it's almost automated because, like in the UK, it kind of just feels like everything's running fine. Like you're never going to be waiting for like 2 hours, and if you were, after it gets like 40 minutes late, the trains get cancelled.
Well, it always says the same thing. It says 2 minutes late, 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 5 minutes late, delayed, cancelled.
Yeah, and if you see a train on the delayed, and it doesn't
just
leave, just go. It's not worth it. Like unless you have to be somewhere, then start planning another route because like
bus.
Yeah, buses.
There's a replacement bus service.
Oh no! I'm gonna have to get a bus to Greenwich Station West. And
so very sorry, your train to London from Cornwall is delayed. but don't worry,
we put on a replacement bus.
How long is that going to be, sir? Oh yeah, the bus is going to be a 15-hour journey,
whereas the train is like 2.
Train 3 hours, bus
15.
By road, it's only like 4 or 5 hours, but bus
15
hour journey.
Maybe if you sell us your liver, we might make it 12.
12 hours. Yeah. 6-day journey.
Not everybody likes selling their liver to get on a train.
I've done it twice.
What? Oh, no, God. But I mean, just passes out halfway through the podcast.
I just remembered I don't have any kidneys.
Now I come to think about it, I've died. Sorry about that, guys.
Goodbye.
But I mean, it is quite interesting because in Japan, as I said, if you're waiting more than a couple of minutes, I don't think I've ever had to wait at all. I don't think there was ever a time.
I think there was once it was like cancelled and they like instantly had like another train. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. A train might be cancelled if there's I think once there was actually something had happened on the line. I actually think, and PG warning on this, I think someone had actually
fallen on the line or something.
Yeah, there had been an incident on the line with a person, and I think that was a reason they had to cancel the train. But there was an alternative train within like minutes.
Yeah, the thing about in the UK is they'll just be like, yes, the reason the train is delayed, we're really sorry, we couldn't have foreseen is that we're doing work on the track.
Yes.
You couldn't have foreseen that you're doing work on the track. They're like,
literally, it's ridiculous.
We thought, but
you see these trains in like Canada that shovel snow out the way, and then it's like, there's a few too many leaves on the line in the UK. Might have to cancel.
It might be raining. We haven't checked, but it might be. And if it's raining, it might be snowing. And if it's snowing, it might be cancelled.
That is the crazy thing.
And it's like it's not. It's the middle of summer. Like, snow.
It's literally July.
Excuse me, mate. I hate to be the breaker of bad news, mate, but it's the middle of summer, right? And there's no snow. So can we get on the train?
No.
Someone put a block of ice on the rail.
Yeah, someone has deliberately cancelled this train. It is weird though, because in Japan, even if you couldn't get on the train, let's say you couldn't get on your train, you're traveling from Tokyo up north, let's say, and they have to say you might have to book an overnight bus. Does that make you feel upset?
Depends if it's the same price as the train.
Okay, no, they've transferred you to an overnight bus.
Was I on the Shinkansen?
No.
I wasn't on the Shinkansen.
No, you're on a normal train.
I was on a local line.
A local line train.
In which case, no. If anything, I'm happy. Unless I got someone to be.
You have nowhere to be. It's going to take... Let's say you were You were going to take a train. You're going to arrive there. You couldn't book into your hotel until 3. This bus gets you there by 3 anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I quite like overnight buses.
That's the thing. In the UK, if you're told you're getting on a bus service, you're literally just going to be put on like a minibus or something. And it will probably be the
They
worst
can't
experience of
even
your
pay
life.
like the minimum price to get one of the
No,
coaches.
That's the thing. But in Japan, you'll never find yourself in a position where they've cancelled you and put you on a bus.
I can't even imagine it happening.
It's not going to happen. But the buses in Japan are also so good. Like, they're so good.
Yeah, they are. Actually.
I mean,
They're pretty
you have to
good.
pay a premium for them normally, but for the price of a train, we actually had this situation. We could have taken a train to Nikko in the just north of Tokyo, and it would have taken us like 2 hours or less, maybe.
Less.
Or we could take a bus that did take around 3 hours, but it was what's referred to as a night bus, or some people call it a sleeping bus or something like this. And it's a bus where you get your own seat. Obviously, you get your own seat in almost every bus, but it comes in like almost like a pod, and you can pull the curtains around your seat. You have loads of leg room, more leg room than we have for this podcast.
Yeah. The bus was my seat was bigger than my entire house.
And they're really comfy. They're really chill. You can sleep on them. The seats recline all the way back, basically like a bed.
Yeah, it was nice.
And they're cheap. They're really cheap.
It was
I
pretty
think
nicely cheap.
for us to travel on a train would have cost us like, I want to say 20 something pounds each. On that bus, it was like £11 or something.
Probably have some footage of what it looks like on that bus.
Yeah, if we manage to find footage, I'll play it from now. Here we are, boys, on the bus. Hey, 3-hour journey to Nikko to come. Yeah, see you on the other side, boys. Okay, if there was no
pretty good.
footage, then I'll just edit out the gap we just had. But
Yeah.
hopefully there is. I mean, I think actually you can see some of the footage on one of our older videos on the channel.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, definitely. With some lovely music over it.
But it was a nice trip. I remember taking that bus and it was chill. There was like 2 old men behind us, and they were like businessmen. They must have been traveling for business because they were like serious.
Yeah, the
And
women in front of us.
Then there was like 3 or 4 relatively young adult women in front of us, and they were just like giggling the whole time. And
Yeah, I was trying to sleep. I was going to throw a book at them.
shut up.
That is not deja vu.
Oh my god, you've caused an offense. They just pulled the bus over like, how could you?
I just remember we were waiting at. So we're traveling from Tokyo to Nikko, and just one city to the next. You know, it shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah.
And I remember we were running a little bit late. We hadn't woken up the earliest,
Oh god.
and we actually filmed our entire time, our entire transition from Tokyo to Nikko.
Yeah, no, we've actually got it all on camera.
And so we woke up pretty late. We're trying to film stuff. We're trying to get stuff done. We leave. We get the train to the main train station in Tokyo. And we're like, okay, we need to find a bus here.
Yeah, it was so
And
hard.
we just could not find this bus. Now, there was buses just as far as you could
Loads of
see.
buses.
Loads of buses. Loads of which said Nikko. And I'm like,
Which one is
which one is us, though? Because all we had was these tickets online, which said, like, basically no information.
They had said the time you had to get on and the time you'd get to the location and the service that was running it. The only problem is the service that was running it was JR, so they run almost everything.
So it's like, and so in the end, we just pretty much had to just guess. And we got on, and we showed them.
Yeah, we were like, if we show them our tickets and they say wrong bus.
The only issue is, that's fine and all. You could just go on and they say wrong bus, you can find the right bus. But we were so anxious of which first one to choose that we chose about 3 seconds before the time.
Yeah, for them to leave.
And so we were like, we got on, and we're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Show it to them.
If we've got it wrong, we have no time.
They show us our seats. We're like, okay, we sit down. We're like, well, it must be the right one.
Yeah.
But I swear, for at least like 10 minutes of that journey, I was like,
We're
what
on
if
the
we're
wrong bus.
driving not to Nikko?
Yeah, we just arrived in like, I don't know.
So what we did is we just traced our entire route with
on
Google Maps.
Just like, where are we?
So the second we knew we got in, there was lots of stops in Nikko.
Mm.
And I remember we stopped at one in the
Yeah.
outskirts of Nikko, and we thought, this is the Nikko stop. They're about to drive off without us. We got off the bus.
Yeah,
And we had
did.
to get back on because we were like, no, it can't be.
We got off. Luckily, we didn't get our
Luggage
out of the stow. But we got off because they were like, yep, this is Nikko. And then we were like, okay, this is Nikko. And then I was like, no. I literally went to Colin. I was like, listen.
Nah.
He was getting up. So we didn't actually get off the bus all the way Cullen started grabbing his stuff, and then I was still sat in my seat because I was the one with the map. I was trying to work it out, and I was like, I just grabbed him, like threw him back in the chair.
Like, nope.
I was like, you need to sit back down,
boy.
because it had like several stops there, and we were like, what? This is the wrong one. And we worked out later, if we'd gone off on that one, we would have still been able to get to our hotel, because we only stayed in Nikko the first time for like, I think it was like 2 weeks before we had to move on to our next place. But we would had to walk like an hour and 40 minutes with all our possessions on our back.
Yeah, it would have been crazy.
And it wouldn't have been nice. But ultimately, that did end up being one of the most beautiful places.
It was just because up until then, I think this is like very early in our time being in Japan, right? And so up until then, we were still pretty much jet lagged. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, not even jet lagged. We just like got into this bad routine, and then we arrived and like we were ready to. This is the earliest it's forced. Like, we had to get up at like 6 in the morning or something.
It's crazy.
So it's the earliest it's forced us. We were like so tired. I don't think we'd slept the night before.
No.
So we were like ready to just go to the hotel, crash there, and do nothing right for the day.
But we didn't realize this bus, because we kind of presumed how do I say that? It feels so weird now, because now we're pretty good at like understanding stuff in Japan, how stuff works, because we had a whole year and a bit of experience of it, right? But when we arrived there, we stayed in Tokyo not too long to begin with, and then we started moving very quick, because we didn't have, originally we hadn't even planned to stay in an apartment too much, because we were like, oh, we'll just find hostels and that'll be part of the fun. But it turned out moving all the time was just too much. But at this point, we were still in that stage. We were like, yeah, we're going to move every couple of weeks, see everywhere. We're like, we'll go to every single major city. And we went to most of the major cities.
That's what we did for the vast majority of the time, to be honest.
Yeah, we didn't go further north like that. We left that as like we can go there another time, like another trip. But we didn't know anything apart from Tokyo at this point, and we didn't even really know Tokyo.
No, we were so new to the country, and it's kind of like a case of we'd had a not amazing time in Tokyo, I don't think. Like, I think I think that first week, although we made loads of memories in those 2 weeks because it was all so new, it wasn't our thing for much of it because of the weather. We arrived in monsoon season. Yeah, it was just horrible.
And it was raining.
It was hot rain, which just makes you sticky.
We are not used to that because we've been to hot countries before. I think before we went to Japan, we'd been to, as adults, we'd been to quite a lot of countries, but we'd been to hot ones like Costa Rica and Nicaragua and
Dominican
Republic. But then none of them had like rain. There was rain,
but it was usually at a very set time because you're in that kind of tropical conditions.
Yeah, it was like, but this was like city rain, but it was so hot you without wearing a t-shirt, you couldn't tell if it was rain or sweat.
It's like this footage of us walking through Tokyo, right, where I've got a white t-shirt on, wear white t-shirts on.
It's just covered,
and it's like it's wet. And then, like, every different scene, where the wet is will change because that drop's gone on. It's evaporated.
Yeah.
Next one's replaced.
That's the crazy thing. We'd never really experienced that because obviously it rains a lot in our country. But you go inside, it's cold.
It's been pouring rain today.
It was very wet today. But the rain will be cold and you won't want to be in it. Whereas this rain, you still wore a t-shirt and shorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't understand. I think it must be a thing where you acclimatize quite fast, but when you live there your whole life, you don't have, no other country. Because I saw in weather that for me, I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and I felt like, oh, dude, I wish I could be wearing like sandals right now because my feet were all like hot. I saw like men in full suits, businessmen, salarymen walking around, and I was like, dude, how going into the subway? As you walk down like the stairs, it's like roasting. They got huge fans trying to circulate the air.
Oh my god, that's a repressed memory.
Which is that's an experience in itself. But and they're walking down like in their long lines. I was walking like lines of like 200 salarymen just going down these spirals or going down whatever.
The body heat just raised everything.
It's insane. And they were wearing full suits, ties buttoned up, going to work at like 6 a.m. in the morning sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, crazy.
I couldn't imagine that life.
I mean, we would often go out really late at night to go get food just to walk in the kind of cool evening air.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like, especially in places like Hiroshima.
Yeah, Hiroshima. It was like...
We did it a lot there.
It was weird, though, because Japan has quite a big north-south climate divide a lot of the time. Tokyo and most of the main island is very... It's in the middle. You wouldn't be able to tell it from...
Hot summers, cold winters.
Yeah. But the north... It does get warm in summer, but it gets like
freezing.
I believe that in the north, two cities in the north actually are the coldest in the world.
I don't know if they're the coldest world, but they have the most snowfall.
Oh yeah, the most snowfall in the world, and they're freezing.
And then down south, it gets cold in winter, but
it's like tropical.
But like it's tropical, it's boiling in the summer.
Yeah, it's literally like you've walked into South America or something.
Yeah, it's more like Southeast Asia where you're getting like the beaches and all that.
And that's because Japan is quite long and thin.
The free islands literally go for free.
Yeah,
literal climates.
The most southerly island of Japan. I had a Japanese. We have lots of Japanese friends, and I actually had a girlfriend who went there, and she went to visit, and she sent me pictures, and like I remember seeing it, and I was like, "That's not Japan."
Yeah,
There's no way. That looks like Australia or something. It looks something out of a Brody Moss video. You know what I mean? Like it was a huge beach resort with white sands and like people in bikinis and stuff, and I'm just like,
bikinis
what?
in Japan.
Whoa. Oh my god.
But it's just a case of like the weather in Japan is just so crazy. So going from this, when we were getting in Tokyo, raining, hot rain, we took this bus. We're stressed out. We're finally getting to Nikko. I didn't have much expectations for Nikko, to be honest.
I'd heard a lot about it because it's the for anyone who doesn't know where it is. It's a city, right?
Yeah.
It's classed as a city, but it doesn't feel like it. It's like it's on the edge of a huge nature reserve.
Yeah.
And it's famous for its temples. It has the famous monkeys, the see no evil, hear no evil.
It has that really famous bridge as well.
Yeah. You'd recognize it in photos, and I'll put some up.
While we've been talking, I'm sure some are coming up. But it's kind of a case of like, so I knew I'd heard about it. I knew it was kind of like a tourist place to go, especially the bottom of it. It's very touristy, right? Yeah. It's kind of built onto a mountain range kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's at the entrance to the huge
so I was thinking to myself, like, I knew kind of, it will be slightly less busy than Tokyo, this kind of stuff, but I could never prepared myself for what Nikko was. You know what I mean? Like, arriving there, it was like that switch of... Anyway, back to the story we were originally on. When we arrived...
You were about to go on a huge tangent. You can tell.
No, this is the tangent, but I realised I can link it back. I was originally saying, so we're there, and usually we were so... Because of Tokyo, we were so still in this bad routine, and we were ready to... I'm pretty sure we would have just arrived, gone to bed, not gone to bed, but lazed around, got some food. But we arrived, and we arrived really early. And
it was
the
really
bus was very early. And so we went to check into our hotel,
and they weren't,
which
ready.
is where we were staying, and they were like, nah, you gotta wait hours.
I think our bus was like really early, like 7 or something, and we arrived at like 9 or 10, like
9 like at AM, and we couldn't sign in until like what?
We'd expected that we would be arriving like 5 or something. I don't think we thought about it really.
No, I just don't.
So we had nowhere to. That wouldn't be a problem normally, but we were A, exhausted, and B, we had huge rucksacks on us, and I'm talking like big, as big as a person.
Yeah, we're carrying everything we own on.
Yeah, and so we didn't know where to put them, and so we arrived at the hotel, and it wasn't too hot then. Like that day, it wasn't too hot.
The beginning of the day, the morning was still kind of damp.
Yeah, it was like morning cool, you know what I mean? And we arrived at the hotel, which was actually pretty cool. It was quite a cool hotel.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was
came
built
with breakfast.
Yes,
which we only had like twice.
Yeah, no, it was kind of creepy because you had to go into this like glass container to have the breakfast. And there was all these like old men there like eating.
I didn't know what half the food was because it definitely wasn't Japanese.
It was quite weird, but I mean, it was ultimately if you were hungry, you could eat there. We normally didn't though.
It's kind of a case of when free food is in Japan. If anything's free, you pretty much have to take it.
Yeah,
because everything else is pretty expensive.
So expensive. But we arrived at the hotel and. Lovely as she was, there was this lady. She was the receptionist, and we came in. We were like, "Hi, we've got this reservation for so and so," and she spoke English, but you could tell she must have been on like an English course for that job because as soon as you deviated from "I have this reservation, this is my room number," she just didn't know anything. But for that stuff, she was like fluent. It was so weird.
It was very strange.
You couldn't tell at all that she couldn't speak English, and then the second you went off, she was like, "Sorry," like.
So we go up, and when they're like, like you can't go in until like 4 or 5 or something like that, right?
Quite late.
Much later in the day, good for like 5-6 hours away. Yeah. And so we're like, what are we gonna do? We got these huge bags. So we decide, all right, we're gonna drop our bags off here. They let us put them in these kind of lockers to wait. but we brought our kind of rucksacks, if you like.
Mm.
And we just figured, well, we'll go explore Nikko.
Yeah,
and
we had no idea. We just
to this day, the fact that we were kind of pushed out and said, yeah, you literally have nowhere to stay. You
Yeah.
have to go explore.
That first day was one of the best days of the entire year.
Yeah, the entire year, because like we went out and there's loads of footage on this day, right? It was a big footage day.
Yeah.
Famously, the fall was that day.
Yes, I took a fall. For some context, we were in like a valley with huge like pine or something forests on each side, and it was really beautiful, and it was quite hot. And we were like, well, we'll climb up the side of the valley just to get lost. We were like, oh yeah, we'll just follow this path. We didn't know where it led. Had a few pretty torii gates on it, and we were like, yeah, we'll just go along with those. What we had forgotten is that when we'd arrived on the bus and we'd been greeted by the people that were waiting at the station, they'd warned us that there was a current bear warning going off.
Yeah.
And every now and again we would hear like a little siren with some speaking, but we couldn't speak any Japanese at the time. I still don't know the word for bear.
No, me neither.
We just had no idea. But what we didn't know is we were walking directly into where the warning was. That's why no one was there. We were like, why is this place so empty? And we just went for a walk, and it was like exactly where the warning was. And as soon as we realized that, we started heading back down again.
Yeah.
And as Colin says, I did fall literally down quite a steep side of the mountain, and I cut myself up. Not too bad.
We can show a little bit of footage from it because we already have it edited.
Yes, you'll see.
All right.
You'll see
if you're an audio only listener, like you're just listening to the podcast, then it should only be like a few seconds. But here's a little, very quick video of Travis explaining his fall.
Boys, I fell over, and now my lens is all scraped. I don't think you can see it on the footage, which means ultimately it doesn't make any difference. But I only got this GoPro a couple of days ago. So Cullen's gonna go without me.
I'm not gonna be stopping you guys.
There's a bear coming, boys.
It was pretty bad.
I think you overreacted.
Maybe I did, but Mike, we are recording this podcast on my GoPro camera because we do actually have proper filming cameras. In fact, it's right here. You can see it. The only problem is we can't get it to work for the podcast.
Yeah, in the episode 0, we had it as a factor in the podcast.
Yeah.
But it was just so much work.
Yeah, because it can't plug into our PC. And it also runs out of charge after like 15 minutes of usage.
30 minutes, yeah.
So everyone who's seen episode 0, they will know that we did originally try and factor that in, but we didn't use it enough either to warrant it.
No.
So we're using the GoPro, and that's why sometimes the background looks a little flickery because the sensor is trying to keep up with the environment. We actually have said that if we reach we have 3 conditions that whichever one comes first, we're going to upgrade to a proper camera. A is 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
B is 1,000 videos, 1,000 episodes. And C was if we somehow acquire a studio or something like that.
Yeah.
At which point it would just not make any sense to be on this setup.
It's also kind of a case of like 1,000 video, 1,000 weeks.
Ooh, that's a long time.
It's like
ultimately it's 1,000 subscribers.
That's
like
1,000 weeks. That's like what?
It's more than 3 years. Oh, it's just less than 3 years.
1,000 weeks is less than 3 years. It's only
1,000 weeks. Holy shit. Yeah, no, that's a long time. That's like half my life.
It's fucking like what?
This is how long 1,000 weeks is, because I can't calculate it on the top of my head.
That isn't close to 3 years, mate.
No, I was wrong. But yeah, so at that point we'll hopefully upgrade our camera as long as we're still going. I'm pretty committed to it.
In 1,000 weeks, I'm probably gonna be dead.
But yeah. So I fell. Back to the conversation, essentially. I fell and I was holding this same camera, and as I fell, it fell with me, and the lens, the actual lens that we're still using now, we haven't replaced it, completely cracked. It's kind of a miracle that somehow it doesn't appear on recording because it is right across the lens.
It's crazy, yeah.
But so we'd only owned this camera. We bought it as I was coming to Japan. I bought it as like, oh, I want to record. and I thought I destroyed it within the first couple of weeks.
That would have been very bad.
It wouldn't have been good. That actually leads on to a good question. A little bit of a side tangent before we move on. What would you recommend to people bringing a camera to Japan? Like, is it worth bringing their... Let's just say they're going on a holiday for 1 month, right? Is it worth bringing their camera, or should they stick with their phone, or is a GoPro a good thing?
I think GoPro is really good. Definitely, but it depends what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I brought my camera because I was doing photography at the time, and I did take lots of photos and some video, and we should have utilized that more. But for us, we were just kind of doing, your basic run-of-the-mill footage, because it's not like we had YouTube videos to make. We were more just kind of filming footage. And for that, like, GoPros were really good.
Yeah, because you can have it on and barely even realize it.
Yeah, kind of forget about it. But it's also kind of stuff like your phone will be fine as well if you really want to. Like, I can't really say anything is going to be too challenging for it.
Yeah, I'd say even if you're going for a year like us, I'd have an idea of what you want to do. If you want to do YouTube, I'd have an idea of what you want to do before you go. Because for us, we didn't realize we wanted to make YouTube videos out of Japan until after we came back, really. So we just trying to patch together stuff that you just happen to record is really hard.
I go there with a bit of intent.
Yeah, you got to have a bit of drive for it. And then I think even if you're not planning to make any videos, you just want to record the memories. Your phone is invaluable because it's always going to be with you. It's great. And record everything on Snapchat, whatever you want to do. I mean, we have so many videos of us just having like all of the chill moments, like the funny moments when we were just with mates. I want to snap because that's what you use, isn't it? You share it with the world. But I wouldn't recommend bringing a big camera with you, like a Canon or a Nikon or something.
Not unless you're staying in one place.
Unless you're planning to do something with it. Like, you've got a plan. A GoPro, however, I'd say bring regardless of what your plan is, because it's just so versatile.
It's really good.
They're actually... Some of them are quite expensive. I think the new one, the 9, is like 400 to 600, depending on where you get it. But my one... When I bought it was quite expensive, but I reckon now you could get it for like 200 or something, maybe less.
Yeah.
And it does 4K filming if you want it to, has amazing image stabilization. It does anything.
It can even film upside down.
Yeah, which is what it's doing right now. And it will flip the footage for you. Going back to Nikko and that, when we got there and we'd had that fall, we went and had some I think I had some strawberry milk. It was pretty disgusting.
Strawberry milk, oh my god, I forgot about that. You had strawberry milk and I had cookies.
Cookies, yeah, little cookies. We then set off, and at this point, it must have been around 12. It was getting to midday, and the clouds parted, quite literally, and the sun came out, and it was, I reckon it was only the second time we'd seen any sun on the entire time we'd been in Japan.
I'd say first time, I think.
The first time we realized it, because obviously when you're in Tokyo, it's so dense.
I think there was a day where we were in a park and there was some sun, but it wasn't like real sun. It was kind of like through clouds kind of sun. But this was like clouds just disappeared and it became like you're in the middle of a furnace.
Yeah, it was so hot. I think it went from being... We come from a country where a high, like the hottest day of the year, will probably be still in the 20s.
I remember the year we went to Japan, the high, it got to 30 degrees in the UK.
Wow.
And like I had people like messaging me and they were dying. And I remember like on that day we were still in Tokyo, and
it must be closer to 40.
It was like it wasn't. It was like 29, and that was like the cold.
Oh, in Tokyo, yeah.
And so anyway, when we came out here, it went from like 24, I think it was, when the clouds and which is still for us
very hot.
That's very hot. That's like a lovely temperature. Love that temperature. If it wasn't so humid. It went from being humid and like relatively warm
enough that you just want to wear a t-shirt and shorts,
to go into being like humid and like 35 degrees.
It's so hot. Honestly, it was so hot.
I think it got to like the high 30s at points, which is like crazy to even think about.
Yeah, and with the humidity as well, it makes it feel like you're in like 50. It's insane.
It's fucking crazy.
Honestly, we thought we were gonna die, and we
were midway through climbing a fuck off mountain as well.
We were like well, not mountain, but like a...
If we gone a bit further, it would have been a mountain.
Yeah, we were just walking up this like very steep valley side, to go see some of these temples, and it just suddenly came out, and we'd been under a canopy on this like river before that, And we came out of the canopy, and there was this little shop there, and they had like a vending machine outside that sold water and stuff. And we were like, and I remember I turned to, I was like, "Oh, do you want me to like get some water from the vending machine?" Obviously, vending machines are a huge part of Japanese culture.
I was going to mention the vending machines.
And he said, "No, it's not warm enough. You know, we're fine. We got like half a bottle left or something." Literally, like 2 minutes later, we'd walked away from that, and the sun came out. And we were like, "What? Oh my god!"
Turn around, get the water.
Run! We were like 4 bottles of water, and we were just there like, "Oh god."
There's something about now vending machines in Japan, right? Love them.
Crazy.
You have to love them, but you get used to them, especially in cities. You kind of just they're there. You use them every now and again.
Yeah.
But there's something about a vending machine in the middle of fuck all nowhere, where it's like, wow, I'm standing in the middle of a forest and there's a vending machine. I press a button and then this cold drink comes out. It's like
it's an aesthetic for sure. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched the very famous animated film Your Name, or Kimi no wa, as weebs might call it.
Kimi no
wa. Oh my god. Anyway,
I hear that and it activates my weeb.
But in that film, I remember we watched that before we went to Japan. I also want to apologize for my creaky chair. Some people did message me about it. They were like, "Your chair's really creaky." And it is, but there's nothing I can do about it.
You can get a kitchen chair.
Oh no, please don't make me sit on a kitchen chair. But if you've ever watched that film, there is a scene in it where they are kind of at a rural place where they get something out of a vending machine, and it's commonly used. I've seen it all over the internet. It's like an amazing aesthetic. It is like that in real life.
It actually is.
You know, you have the ivy growing on it, and then the little light inside. It's like, "Please buy from," and then you have some
Bose Kofi.
Bose, and you're like, it's beautiful in a way. It has its own charm to it.
We could put in footage right now of you buying us buying the mini Coca-Cola from a vending machine in Nikko.
We could do, but it's kind of cringe.
We're doing it anyway.
Oh no!
Cullen's gonna buy this tiny bottle of Coke when he could buy a big bottle for the same price. Because he loves getting ripped off. 10 more yen. Let's see it. Are you satisfied with your care?
Well, that was kind of cringe.
See, that was like that. I remember being so annoyed because I was like, we started filming. We were like, oh, we saw it. We're like, oh, we'll buy this little Coca-Cola even though it's more expensive than the big Coke.
I
right?
just brush your hand out.
And like, I didn't even want it. I was like, oh no, just buy the big one. I can't be bothered. And Travis was like, no, look, we'll film it. It'll be funny. And he was like, haha, let's go. He started filming. He's like, Cullen really wants to buy this Coca-Cola, which is small. What an idiot. I was like, I didn't even want it. And I'm paying for it. So I'm like, all right.
It was very cheap.
I'm going to press this aesthetic button, which is the nice bit. I'm going to feel full. Travis, he's like, nah, presses it himself. So not only has he bullied me for buying a Coca-Cola, which I didn't even want, he wanted. He's then also made me pay for it and him take the fun part.
And then I said some stupid.
He's like, are you happy with the cola? I was like,
no,
yeah.
I think I say. Obviously, we haven't just watched the video.
Yeah, wait, just carried on filming for us.
But I think I say, are you content with your care or something? Which was like a Big Hero 6 quote, because I'd watched Big Hero 6 like that morning.
Wow.
And it was really cringy because Cullen goes.
I think I was probably wearing like a very similar shirt to what I'm wearing now.
Yeah,
very
the same
similar.
clothes.
Same person, really.
That's kind of great. Oh my god, you're wearing the same clothes?
Just a little bit older now.
Like almost 2 years ago.
I don't update my wardrobe that often.
No, you don't change size.
You're wearing a t-shirt you got for free, mate. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I am. Lol, crazy.
But got these sort of names on it that you're not even sponsored by.
Yeah, I'm hiding them intentionally and just keeping my arm the other way.
But anyway, so it was hot.
Just like the ultimate. Honestly, every time we go on a tangent, we then try and link back to it. Like, and yeah, well,
the genre for today's was supposed to be transport.
that is true. But we talked about the transport to Nikko. That's how we got onto it.
Well, Nikko is. We could talk about Nikko forever because like it's just this beautiful, beautiful place.
It was probably one of the most beautiful places we went to. I remember we went to Nikko. Was beautiful. The island in Hiroshima. I can't remember its name.
Oh, you're testing my knowledge now.
I can't remember, but I will. Obviously, you guys will know before I do because editor me will look on Google. So, I mean, that's the funny thing. The was like, he didn't know the name of that island. How could he? It's on the screen right now. I can't see the screen.
That's not been edited yet, you see.
I can't see the screen. I
I
can't
can
see
see
anything.
myself, though.
Oh yeah, every now and again you'll see me looking that way because that's where the screen is. To try and check. My hair keeps going flat. I have to throw it back up.
I think our FPS is low today as well. That's all right.
Well, you didn't have to point it out. Now they know.
Anyway, the heat. Okay.
But we did actually travel. We did actually have an experience of a different form of travel in Nikko. When we were leaving Nikko, we decided we would get the Japan RailPass, which works on JR Shinkansens as well as local lines. And it's like this kind of like big. They call it a ticket, but it's not a ticket. It's a big book which they like open and read and stamp every time you use it, right? And it gives you unlimited train travel for how many months you buy it for. And this was while we still had to move between big cities. So I think after Nikko, we didn't go back to Tokyo. We literally traveled all the way to Kyoto, I think, after that. Or was it Hiroshima? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure. No, because we went from Korea from Kyoto.
That's from Osaka. It was Osaka.
Osaka?
Like, they're right next to each other.
Yeah, sorry, it was Osaka. So I think actually what we did is we stayed in Kyoto first, and then we went to Hiroshima.
Yeah, we did.
So we stopped. Here's where it gets confusing. So the train went from Nikko to
Tokyo.
No, to Osaka.
Shin Osaka.
Osaka. Then we got another train.
Oh yeah, we got
Kyoto.
two Shinkansen. That's why I get confused. It's gonna seem kind of weird because if you're watching this, you're like, how don't they know what they did? We are really bad at remembering stuff. And also we traveled a lot, like all the time. So remembering, which time did you travel from? Next time you travel from Nikko, which one did you go to that time?
So we must have gone through Shin Osaka like 5 times.
Yeah,
which time was it?
Because the Shinkansen is really fast. It's also really expensive. We decided to get the ticket at the JR RailPass. And we were like, we'll only need it for a little bit because, once we're down in like Kyoto or Osaka, we'll probably stay there for like, a few months or something. Little did we know we'd probably then travel like so much in the next.
We literally we went down to the bottom of Japan and we went like,
because we just couldn't settle in one place.
Kyoto, to Osaka, to Hiroshima,
back up to some random other place. And then
I think there was another place we went, which name now escapes me.
All the time. We went to Kobe, we went to Tokyo, Nikko, Hiroshima, and then
there is one other, the place where we stayed in the traditional.
Oh yeah, Odawara.
Yeah, there you go.
See, there's some places we've barred from our memory. That needs a whole episode to itself.
I will have a whole episode to itself.
But yeah, no, we got this pass. How many times have I had to say that now? And it traveled us. It means you can travel for free. You don't have to pay for the train. And if you use it enough, it's worth the money because it does cost quite a lot of money. But we had to get it from a post office. And that was really hard because it arrives from your home country. It gets mailed to your home country because you're supposed to get it before you go. But we got it while we were already there. So it got sent to our parents' house and they had to mail it to us in Japan. And then we also had to get it in Japan, get it signed off at a JR station so that it was activated. And we did all this with our train in 2 days' time.
What were we thinking?
It was kind of crazy.
Our poor mother.
I know, it was insane. So we were like, credit to our mum, lovely lady. She just worked like tirelessly all night trying to get this stuff done. And eventually it did actually arrive in Nikko, but we couldn't find the post office for the life of us. Like, it was obviously, now looking back, it was so simple where it was. There was this huge building with a big stamp on
it wasn't even that. I remember what it was. We were like, it's going to arrive. We scheduled it to arrive at the hotel we were staying at. So we said to them, we went down to the lobby and we were like, look, we got post expected. And their English wasn't amazing. So they're like, post, I can check for you. It's like, no, it's not going to arrive now.
Yeah, it's going
to arrive like
tomorrow
morning
or something.
And then we realized we actually had to leave our hotel before the post would arrive. And so that's why we had to find the post office because we wanted to go there and say, can we intercept it so we can pick it up now before it goes to the hotel?
Yeah, because we got an alert from JR that it had already arrived at the local post office. And so we were like, well, we can just pick it up and then it'll be all okay. But when we went there, they were like, no, we can't give you post here. Like, are you stupid? It's got to be sent to your hotel. And we were like, yeah, but like we're not going to be in the hotel anymore.
It was a hell. I can't even remember how we got it sorted.
Yeah, well, what we did eventually was we checked out of our hotel at like 11, which is when they check you out. Our train to get to because we had to travel to the nearest Shinkansen station, and I remember that was only like 2 hours after when we got kicked out. We were like, this is crazy. If it doesn't arrive today, we just have to pay for the train. Like, we had nothing we could do. We'd have to pay for it to be delivered to where we were going next, and we'd have to pay for that Shinkansen, which probably would have been, for the two of us, 200.
Looking back, we would have just had to have stayed in Nikko one more day.
Yeah, I guess so. And luckily for us, thank God, the hotel allowed us to come back and check on the hour if it was there, and it was. And then we had to run to the station, get it activated, and then we could.
No, we got the train to.
Yeah, we didn't. We got it before that.
Yeah, we got the thing, but we had to get it activated at the actual Shinkansen.
Yeah, we were always paying to get a train to the Shinkansen station. At least that's what we thought, and then so we were. But if we'd left without it, it would still get delivered to there, so that would have been a problem.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was definitely pretty crazy. It was a full ordeal.
Yeah. Tip of advice: if you're traveling in Japan, the train will have announcements in English, but knowing the name of where you're going in Japanese, or at least being able to read the hiragana or maybe even the kanji if you really need to, it would just help so much.
Yeah.
Because at that station when we got there, we it was terrible. We waited on the platform. We were on the wrong platform, and we just sat there waiting for like,
oh my god,
2 hours.
Oh my god, I remember that.
And then what eventually happened was we were like, we've got to be on the wrong place because no one else was on this platform, and it was supposed to be a really busy train.
It's supposed to be arriving like it was supposed to like arrive in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, honestly, with like 2 minutes ago, we were like, look, we can't chance this. So what was, we both just spontaneously, without talking to each other, decided we'd go and check. So I went down.
Travis left to go and check, and I went on my phone and tried to research.
Yeah.
Travis had just left. He'd just gone down the stairs.
Worked out.
When I worked out which one we had to be on. But Travis hadn't taken any of his luggage with him and taken nothing. So it's too much for me to carry myself. So I started like hobbling with like all this stuff. Literally like 2 times my body weight.
I went down because this Shinkansen stations are huge. And they have big like lobby areas where it says where everything's going. And I saw that we were on the wrong station. I was like, oh, I've done it. I'm going to be the hero. I run back up. I walk back up because I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I know where it is. Oh, I see Cullen hobbling. I'm like, oh no. And he's like, we got like 20 seconds. He's like,
it had already arrived.
It was pulled into the station. I was like, great. We ran with like these huge rucksacks. We got there and then the train didn't leave for like 12 minutes.
It's crazy. I mean, I must have phoned Travis like 40 times.
Yeah.
Now, not phone like, sending it through a satellite because obviously I couldn't afford that. On Snapchat and on Instagram and on every single social media that can make calls. Must have phoned him like 400 times. The man must have been looking at his phone, but just chose to ignore it.
I wasn't looking at my phone. I was chilling. It's kind of weird to think when you only had 2 minutes to go, but I was chilling and I was like, oh wow, they sell pretzels here? I was like, I could really do a pretzel.
And I'm here like on the station like fucking crawling, trying to drag like 4 people's worth of shit. Like, you're sweating. The conductors have come up to me. They're like, you must go. I'm like, oh, I'm trying.
I was chilling. I was thinking, shall I buy a pretzel and then go and take it to Cullen? Because we didn't know. We say it was in 2 minutes, but we weren't 100% sure of that. We were like,
all we knew is that it had arrived and everyone was on the train.
Yeah, so I was like, shall I just buy a pretzel? And then like, because I was basically preparing to like get the next one basically, which is in like 4 hours time. And then I saw Cullen and I was like, we can make this. We
We would have been fine if you just come back to where we fucking were. But this guy he's like he doesn't speak a word of English. He's shouting Japanese, and I'm like, "Sumimasen,
I don't speak,
please." I'm like, "Nihongo ga goshi wakarimasu, demo mo jouzu jarimasen." And he's like, "What?
What does that even mean? What Japanese are you speaking?" But we made it.
My pronunciation at the time was probably so bad that he literally didn't know what I was saying.
Yeah, but the thing is, when I remember that, I literally can't remember now, and this shows you why we need to do this podcast. I cannot remember for the life of me if we went straight from Nikko to Kyoto or to Odawara.
We went to the place
Hakone.
We went to Hakone.
Pretty sure we went there. And that's crazy because I remember when we arrived in Ottawa. Oh, I remember what
I fully remembered what happened.
We arrived and it was like...
I fully know what happened. Like, we've actually got some stuff wrong. At Nikko, we got the JR passes, but we weren't actually going to use them for another week. So we got on the train. The reason we had to leave Nikko so quickly where we couldn't wait for the post is because we actually had a place booked somewhere else.
Yes.
And it was from there, which is a Shinkansen
We stayed
station.
in a Ryokan, right?
Yeah. And it was from there at the end of like the 2 weeks. That's when we signed them off to go all the way down the country.
It's such a complicated episode for you guys. I hope you've managed to stay up with this mental arithmetic jousting we've been throwing at you.
Oh God, you son of a bitch.
But if you have managed to do it, thanks, because we haven't. Our stories are all over the place.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck is going on at this point.
I remember when we arrived in Nikko, going back to that because obviously we'll talk about Ottawa next time. I remember when we arrived, I was so hungry and I was like, this place isn't going to have like a 7-Eleven or a Family Mart.
It's in the middle of nowhere. I have nothing.
There's nothing here. And I remember walking along the road, not seeing anything. There was nothing. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I had no idea what I was going to eat. I couldn't see any like eat out places. There was loads, by the way.
Yeah, we were just looking in the complete wrong direction.
Yeah. And I was like, and I remember just going over this hill and I see it in the distance. It's a Family Mart. Oh my God. My stomach suddenly becomes literally a void. It's like, feed me. I almost run across the road.
Was one hell of a Family Mart.
It was one of the best.
And we saw the annoying Americans who didn't follow traffic laws.
That's what I was gonna say. When I saw it, I was gonna run across the road because I was literally so hungry because I hadn't eaten on this whole journey. And then I stopped. Obviously, I waited for the lights. Now in Nikko, the traffic lights are really old, like they're vintage traffic lights, and they take, honestly, swear to God, 2 minutes to change, which doesn't sound like a lot when you hear it now. But imagine just standing.
on the side of the road.
You miss it by like 2 seconds. You're like, no, there's no cars coming. There are no cars to be seen anywhere.
It's like a whole motorway going through the town.
You can see this motorway all the way to the top, and you cannot cross that road. And then there's some Americans while we're waiting there to cross, and they do cross, and someone comes out and just starts screaming at them, like so angry. A car's stopped to like get out and honk at them. It's just, you do not cross the road unless it's green. You have to wait. And do wait, seriously.
Yeah. And
It's the one thing they just won't accept.
We were there waiting for the lights, like, wow, sucks to be there.
Yeah, we were like, haha.
Gonna go eat my fried chicken now.
I'm gonna go put on the pounds.
Thing is, like, I was so tired that day that we went out. I'm pretty sure this happened on the first day we were there. We went out, got fried chicken, ate some shit, walked around the town at night for quite a while, went back to our room, and honestly to God, I swear I went into a coma because I don't remember anything. Literally lay down in this room. We had quite a nice room. Had like windows all around it. Very weird for a Japanese room. We basically just like a penthouse at this point. Had like windows everywhere with construction work directly outside. They only worked at night.
Yeah, that was really weird. It was so loud.
And so anyway, I lay down in this bed and we've put some stuff in the microwave or something. We're trying to like work out if we can link my phone to the TV so we can watch some shit that isn't Japanese television, which is appallingly bad. We can't do it. And I remember I don't even know if I got fully into pajamas or anything. I'm pretty sure I literally
just lay on the
comatose. I was like,
it was the livers missing.
I'm pretty sure I like did some work on my phone, like messaged some work.
Well, I remember because I sent a video to my lovely mother because she was concerned after that whole ordeal because when we came to Nikko on the bus, I'd messaged her, as we said right at the beginning of the podcast, that we couldn't work out which bus it was, and she was worried. And I said, oh no, it's okay, we arrived and we're fine. And I remember recording the room and showing her, and Cullen's there. You can't see him in the video, but you have to trust me on this. He's there, face down, just like terribly out of it. And I don't think he woke up until we then went to go get dinner. We bought fried chicken at Family Mart, ate it, he passed out, woke up at like 11 p.m. and Cullen was like, Travis,
I was dying.
Do you want to go get some more fried chicken?
We did. We went out and got more.
At like midnight, because most Family Marts and 7-Elevens are 24 hours, and not fake 24 hours like Tesco Metro.
Tesco be like, we're 24 hours, to buy a bottle of water and a newspaper
Yeah.
outside, and they'll lock the door.
No, they say 24 hours, but they mean their petrol's 24 hours.
Well, in Japan, it's like 24 hours
It
doesn't mean 24
There'll
hours.
be
It
like
means
2 staff in there who will go. They'll literally say good morning at 1 a.m. Ohayou gozaimasu, and you're like, bro, how are you alive?
when they say 24 hours in Japan, they actually mean 28 hours because
Yeah.
the time you spend in there, the time will just start to fade.
Yeah, honestly, like it's there's something really homely, and I can't explain how homely it is to be in a konbini.
Da, 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 da,
That might be copyrighted.
da, da.
They have this really knockoff like background music of "Wake Up Sleepy Jean" or whatever the song's called, and it's ingrained. It plays 24/7, and there's a few other songs as well that play.
There are, and they're just like,
They become like a subconscious like memory, like flashback. But you can go into a konbini, as we did at that midnight, and there's no one else around. The whole town was like shut down and empty, and it's just there with its like lit up car park.
picture of fried chicken on the outside.
And you walk in, and at the time in Family Mart there was like a big summer sale going on. It was their like anniversary summer or something, and they were giving out tickets that you used to get stuff. And I remember when we walked in, there was these huge adverts for this like Family Mart sale on the outside, and I walk in and they're like, all happy to see you. They're waiting to serve somebody, please. And you walk in and you're like, one fried chicken, please. Give me the fried chicken.
Right.
And they're like,
which one? And you just point, you're like,
that one. I
This
didn't even know the word for chicken. I was like, just
salted chicken now.
give me the spicy one. And you're like, I'm taking a risk with the spicy one. I'm taking a risk. And you feel like you're a man of culture having the spicy one, because you're like, no one else is gonna have the spicy. Then you have the spicy one. It's like 2% spice. It tastes.
Literally, like, maybe you've got a bit of herb on there, and they've like dyed it red.
That's the thing. I mean, if you look, the chicken is so much more than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean?
It's like it's you take these parts, you're like, that's not so good, that's not so good. Put them together, like, wow, this is God.
Grease is pouring down my hand. But
You do need to eat them in the containers.
in
they
the
come in.
containers that go in. But the point I was going to make was it kind of makes it feel homely, because you walk in, there's hot food straight away. There's always this like calming background music playing. It's always like nice and warm or cool inside, because it's always AC'd. And I do remember there was a time in Tokyo, several months later from that event, where we were literally in a monsoon. Like the bus, we'll have full episodes as we come to that, because we're planning to like kind of move through our journey to start with. But there was a full monsoon. It was destroying buildings.
People being like, what,
people
a
being
million people
evacuated.
evacuated.
Yeah,
or
huge
something.
amounts of people were evacuated. And we were like, where would I feel most safe, apart from on the like 67th floor of the skyscraper we were on? We were like, where would I feel most safe? Let's go to 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven.
In the middle
We
of
sat
this.
down on the upstairs of 7-Eleven, looking out
that's
at the
great.
city being destroyed.
That was insane.
You know, water. There's a river right next to us,
Yeah.
which is literally exploding.
Yeah, we had to walk through like literally a running river to get there, but we still went. That just shows you how good it is.
And
in
you
there.
still, it's like literally trees are coming down, bus shelters are falling over, and you're still waiting for that little light to go green so you can cross the road.
Yeah. Like, please.
Hurry up, I'm gonna die. And like, people will look at you, they're like, what the fuck are they doing? Because we didn't even wear the right clothes.
We were like, should we wear coats? And we were like, yeah, we'll put on our Gore-Tex coat. But we forgot we were wearing shorts.
We still wore shorts. And
was
like, we
crazy.
had to wear those shorts the next day, and they were literally dripping.
When we came down, we were in quite a expensive. I think it was the most expensive hotel I've ever stayed in my life.
In my life,
It was a 5-star for like business, and I don't know how we ended up. I think
I'm pretty sure we got like, it was like one of those flash deals.
Yeah, and so we were like filling in places, because we only stayed in that hotel for a little while. And I remember we walked down to the reception, which was huge. It was a huge reception, like, gold everywhere. And we were like, how do we get out? Because they had this huge like fancy turn,
and they'd been destroyed.
and it had been destroyed. And we were like, how do we get out? They were like, ow.
Why
There's
would
like
you
a
want to
side
leave?
maintenance door you can go through. And so we went through it, and I swear to God, I think they thought we were probably going to die.
I thought we were gonna die.
It was kind of crazy.
I mean, I just that hotel, like we were staying in this place, if you can imagine it, like Home Alone shit. Like
It does. It looked just like the Home Alone Trump
and
Tower.
you're
one.
living in this room which is like pristine beds, a view literally worth like $1 million.
Yeah.
which like every morning you're waking up to this immaculate view of like fucking Tokyo.
Yeah, it was right in front of Skytree.
Central, like the center of Tokyo,
Yeah.
central, higher than every other building.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We were on one of the highest floors already. There's
Yeah.
a floor, the top floor was a bar. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy shit. And we're there like, we just didn't, disrespect your surroundings. And just by that I mean like, just literally
we lived like pigs.
live like pigs while we're there.
Because it was so hard.
It got to a point where we were like this. And it's kind of embarrassing to think about. But we were there the first few days and we kept it all tidy and we did all that kind of stuff. And then I remember it just got a little bit untidy. And so what we did is you could sign this thing to say that all you wanted the cleaners to do was to just leave you the bedding
outside.
outside.
We were so embarrassed.
And at the beginning, it wasn't even that messy.
we should have just let them in.
Should have just let them in, 100%. And they'd leave a little note. They say, look, here's your bedding, but please let us inside.
Let me in.
And we kept doing this. And we just kept thinking, we'll clean ourselves. We kept cleaning ourselves. Now, our cleaning was fine. It's not like we were living in like a fucking trash
Yeah,
dump.
but there was it was pretty bad.
There were some days where it was like you waking up and you're like,
I am living like this.
I really live like this in a 5-star hotel. And I remember walking out one night, and I know that they hadn't been this many times. They just did it for effect. They left a pile like this high of requests to enter the room.
Yeah, they really wanted it.
And so we let them in
Yeah,
eventually.
and it was we'd already did. We
We'd,
bought
like-
some huge bin bags.
We
and
bought
did
bin
some
bags.
cleaning.
We like cleaned everything, did everything up, washed it, and then we let them in. And I'm still pretty sure they hate us.
We left them a big tip.
Japanese cleaners, love them. The other cleaners we met,
Not so much.
weird as hell.
Yeah, we low key got sexually assaulted by one of them.
It's not sexually assaulted per se, but definitely
Harassed.
harassed.
There was this small lady and a few of her friends I think it was Kyoto. No, it was Hiroshima.
It was Hiroshima, yeah.
And we were in like a hotel room because we were staying between places, and it was pretty messy. And they went in, right, and they were all from like South America, I think they were.
I think so.
And they all went in, and we were coming back as they were finished, and they were like, "Oh, it's like a jungle in there," and we were like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah,
And they
sorry.
were like, "Oh, what did they say?" They were like,
They're like, for two boys like you, I'll clean anything.
Yeah,
you know
like,
what I mean? Like,
"I wish I could be thrown around in your jungle," and we were like, "Jesus
like,
Christ,
please leave me alone."
and
Like,
take it easy." I mean, it was quite funny because
and they're like this big.
yeah, I'm 6'3". Cullen's almost 6'3", and they were like 5 foot, maybe less.
And like they had that one Japanese cleaner who just stayed up and just bowed.
Oh,
us.
there was this young Japanese cleaner with them who kind of even about our age, and they were just like, they looked like so
Mortified,
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we saw them like 3 times. Every time they made sexual jokes about us. I swear to God.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was all part of the fun in the end. I mean, you look back on it and you're like, well, that was kind of weird. But at the time, we didn't think it was that bad. We were just like, okay, we're chilling.
Yeah, what could they have done? I could literally punt them.
Jesus Christ. Just punt them out the window.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much us out of time, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
We've gone through lots of things.
I hope this episode wasn't too chaotic. You could have had 2 sides. Last episode was very structured and quite calm, whereas this episode was just, we talked about whatever the fuck came into our head. It's going to be so hard to remember what we have and haven't talked about when we do the next one.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's the thing. Like, there'll be some overlap, and you may hear us talk about a place or an experience we talked about before, but because we move through topics so quickly, it shouldn't be that big a deal.
Yeah, next time I'll be like, and then I really considered if I should go with them. But orange juice in Japan's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the trains?
Melon.
But we do want to say that if you have any questions you'd like us to answer about Japan, feel free to comment them down below, or you can direct them to our Instagrams, which are here and here.
Instagrams.
Our Twitter, which are here and here. And
Or the Where Next Instagram, which is here.
yes, wow, wonderful. And ultimately, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time, hopefully at the same time next week. So
Yeah, thank you very much, and see you later.
yeah, this has been the Where Next podcast. Bye. Smile. Nikko, Nikko, ni. Like, smile.
Knee.
Oh my God.
Kill me!